We time.
Welcome back to the Smoke Sessions.
What's up, people?
What's up? This your brother Jam,
It's your boy Blackhand over here, Bobby Blackhand.
and we got Los, the ghost with the most, behind the
Brother
camera.
Joe.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Smoke Session. Glad to join us. Man, we're gonna talk about video games tonight, and I know if y'all anything like we are, especially considering some of the feedback we've gotten from y'all on previous episodes, you're gonna be down for what we talking about tonight. But we're gonna get into that in a minute. So, man, how you been? How you been, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. And also shout out to the my boy David Wilson.
What's up, Big Dave? Hey, man, we got your message, brother. I'm gonna be reaching out to you real soon to see about getting you on the show. I hope you're ready to come join us, sit back and have a fun conversation, man. Looking forward to talking to you again. But yeah, so what's been going on, brother? Anything you wanted to talk about?
Really not that much. Just loving doing this podcast and trying to reach out to people. Because on Mondays and Wednesdays we have our serious talk, but at the same time we need to nerd out sometime. Because we gotta get that stress off. So this is what we're doing.
That's
And
what
then come get silly with Los on Fridays.
exactly right. Don't forget, we got shows coming for y'all 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. So whenever you thinking, I'm sitting at home, I got about an hour to kill. Let me find something to watch real quick. Hey, there's gonna be a new episode of the Daily Smoke, whether it's the main show or whether it's a smoke session or whether it's a TGIF. We got you covered. So there's always something you can join us and have a good time.
Watch out you don't get a Saturday and Sundays too.
Hey, now look, we're not ruling out the possibilities. Anything's possible.
Right.
Hey, we might be cooking for y'all. Yeah.
Joe,
Hey.
that's possible too.
Now-
Smoking with the smoke.
We just did our episode on the main show where we talked about the Soul Food Sunday with Danessa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. If y'all haven't got a chance to check out that episode, go check it out. Sister was
Amazing.
really enlightening. She had some interesting takes on and the things that she's trying to accomplish and the way she's going about it is really interesting. Sponsoring like these dinners to have deep conversations about things like spirituality and relationships and things that help heal us, not just on the physical side as far as exercise and diet, but at the same time doing some spiritual healing and helping you heal yourself on the inside so we can be completely well. She preaches like a wellness, a complete wellness philosophy, and I think it's really interesting. So be sure and check out that episode and check her out on Facebook. We'll put some links in that episode. We'll put some links in the description for her contact information. But I heard that Morbius is coming out.
Yeah, April 1st, Morbius. I will be there. Because I'm a comic book head, and for those who don't know about Morbius, it's a Spider-Man character, one of the villains in Spider-Man.
Right, he started off as a villain with Spider-Man. I remember that.
Yeah, he was a well-known doctor that was trying to pretty much find a cure for different illness. Different cures for different things, and he ended up becoming what they call a living vampire. Meaning he's not dead, but he's a vampire.
Yeah,
From fucking with research and shit.
well,
Yeah.
he's kind of like a bat version of what happened to Spider-Man.
Okay.
He was working on I think in the movie they're having it where he was dying of like a disease or something.
Yeah.
And so in the process of trying to come up with the cure, he winds up doing some kind of genetic experiment with bats, and he uses it on himself first, of course, because he's trying to save his own life. But it winds up mutating him, and so he winds up taking on vampire bat qualities. So he drinks blood and all of that kind of stuff, and he can fly and a bunch of other different things. But has a lot of the abilities of a traditional vampire, but he's not undead. He never actually died. He wasn't bitten by a vampire and got turned.
Yeah.
He's a genetic vampire.
Okay.
That's why they call him the living vampire, because
Yeah.
he's not technically dead, but he's a badass in the comics. So
Oh yeah.
So he comes like you said with Spider-Man, right?
yeah,
So that he's just fucking around, and Spider-Man got to go find out who this dude is, or he
Well,
knows about him.
part of his problem is that because the DNA that he used was vampire bat DNA, he does have to drink blood. He needs it, and so of course when he first turns, he doesn't have full control over his abilities and all that kind of stuff. So that hunger, that thirst, it gets him, and he does wind up killing some people. You know, he's not a white knight. He is definitely, you know, eventually he does become a hero. Kind of like an anti-hero, yeah. He learns how to control it, and he gets more on the good side than on the bad side. But he's one of those heroes that'll fucking kill you, you know, and you know, especially if he's hungry, because he can still lose control. But I think the movie's gonna be good. I think Jared Leto, because Jared Leto's gonna be playing Morbius.
yes,
I think he's gonna be much better in this role than he was in Joker. I really, from what I've seen in the trailer, I think it's going to be.
Who was he in Joker?
Joker?
I mean, not Joker. It's Suicide Squad. He played Joker in Suicide Squad.
Oh, the dude, the skinny dude.
Yeah.
That dude.
That dude.
Okay, that's
But
the thing, dude.
he's going to be playing Morbius.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I finally watched Joker.
What did you think?
I finally watched Joker.
What did you
think?
think?
Man. Yes.
We've been
Joaquin
telling you.
Phoenix, man. Joaquin
else,
Phoenix is an amazing actor, dude. You can say what you want about the brother on a personal level, but man, that dude can act, and he played the hell out of that role.
Yes.
Especially in the part when he found out like his mother was actually crazy, and like she had lied to him about Thomas Wayne being his father.
Yeah.
I'm like, you felt his pain. You saw that. He was just like, wait. And then when he suffocated her in the hospital, I was like, oh, that's it. He gone.
No.
What did you think about the first time that he did the laugh?
Oh, that was pretty good. I like how they made it a condition.
Yeah, like a nervous tick.
Well, he got,
Right.
of course, now he knows that he got abused when he was a child. He was always like, oh, it's just I have this deep, what is it? What's the word I'm trying to think of?
We need Brother Ron.
Shout out to Ron.
Shout out to Ron. But yeah, he has this like condition basically where he laughs in inappropriate times.
Right.
But it's just like, okay, when I get stressed or nervous or anything like that.
Like that.
Boy.
At any time, that shit was cool.
But that shit was beautiful the way they did it, especially with that scene in the subway when he killed those first 3 dudes. Because if it hadn't been for the laugh.
Man, yeah, that was like perfect to see how the Joker, why this motherfucker's so crazy.
Right. And then it also gives you the perfect reason and I know they said they're not going to bring that Joker into the Batman series,
right.
But it gives the perfect reason for him to have the animosity towards Batman.
Right.
Because the Joker, at least as far as I can recall, the Joker always knew who Batman was.
Right.
And so you always wonder, how the hell did he know? Now you have an understanding of that back history and that connection. So, and I love the fact that at the end he got away.
Right.
That was awesome.
Some of that is like some of the scenes is like, is this in his head or is this actually happening?
That was cool too. I love it. I felt bad for the little black chick though. Yeah. I was like, man, leave her alone, though.
Now what about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker into the Batman?
Oh man, that would be so awesome.
They
already
had the Joker in there. Right?
They do have the plan is that they're gonna have somebody already. They already have somebody cast to play the Joker.
I think that's a mistake to do the Joker that soon.
So in the movie The Batman, I haven't seen it. There is no Joker in there.
There's no Joker. The villain in that movie is the Riddler.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they could have put top.
But at the very end, when the Riddler is in Arkham, another cellmate starts talking to him through the bars. It's like, oh man, you did okay. You did good. You tried your best, and you got pretty far. He's like, but hey, you probably need a friend. And when they both, he gave the way he did it. He told him a riddle. And when Riddler solved the riddle, they both started laughing. And the Riddler had this crazy laugh, but you heard the Joker laugh. And I was like, yeah.
That'd be cool if somehow Riddler gets out, and they both get out, and that's how they play.
Well, I agree with Bob though. I do think that it's really they should have went with another villain. It's too soon to do the Joker again.
Actually, I've heard those who were saying that they should have went with Hush.
Yeah.
Hush, if those who don't know, Hush is pretty much Bruce Wayne's almost like best friend when he was growing up. But they're
opposite.
They're the opposite of each other.
I've never heard of Hush.
See, okay, that's an interesting character. So basically, his family was rich like the Waynes. So they grew up together. They knew each other. I forgot his real name, but he was a rich socialite kid. The difference is where Bruce had loving, caring parents. His parents was abusive, and they mistreated him and hurt him and all kinds of stuff. So at the age of I think like 9 or 10 or something like that, this dude plotted his parents' death. He figured out a way to kill his parents and make it look like an accident so he could get all the money. Well, what wound up happening is he killed his father, but he didn't kill his mother. So his mother stayed around and she abused him for years and years and years after that. But he grew up, became a surgeon. He was like this top-notch surgeon. And then after he figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, he starts going on this, he basically gives himself this mission of trying to destroy the Batman.
Yeah.
But he does it in such a way where he lies and manipulates, because just like Batman is super smart, he's super smart. Just like Batman is cunning, he's cunning. He's basically the opposite of Batman. He's everything Batman is, he's just evil. Yeah, and he even winds up working with the Riddler to help try to bring Batman down. So
this was the last movie.
Well, no, this wasn't in the last movie. This is in the comic books.
Okay.
But this is what they're saying, that people should have they should have done this instead of doing the Joker.
Okay.
Because the lead up that they've made and the way that the world that they created in this last Batman, it would have fit Hush pretty well.
Okay. But it's Hollywood and everybody likes the Joker.
But the thing, the Joker character has been done so many times. It's like you almost expect that because it's an iconic
But
character.
you got to think too. They're doing movies, and like me, I ain't never heard of Hush because I don't read the comics. So there's a lot of people out here that they might be like, now if they did it when he's something good, you just introduce a new character to people that have no clue about.
But that's the point. When you think
perfect.
How many people had heard of Falcon in the MCU?
I had never heard about him.
How many people had heard of War Machine?
Right.
How many
I didn't even
people
know the dude with the arrows?
Right. Hawkeye.
Right.
You might have, a few people might have known who Black Widow was, but not everybody did,
right.
Not unless you was a real hardcore fan. So these are characters who you didn't know, but because they introduced them in the movies and they made you find them interesting, you now know who those characters are, and you have an investment. You have to take a risk.
Right.
That's I think that's what DC gets wrong, is that they don't cover enough of their own stories because they're scared to take risks.
They're always on the same.
They keep doing the same stories over and over again.
But with DC though, DC actually have some of the deepest storylines. This is why I'm kind of pissed off with some of the movies that they're coming up. They have some of I'm talking about their storylines are deeper than Marvel.
And that's Aquaman and
Aquaman and Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman.
But see, that's all they focus on.
Exactly.
Because like Aquaman, I knew them in the comic books, but they never really did nothing.
They only want to focus on their big names. They don't want to take a risk and go for some of the smaller characters who are just as interested. DC Universe has its own version of Doctor Strange, a master of sorcery. What's his name? Do you remember?
It just left my mind.
But he wears like this gold helmet, and he has like a big ass Ankh is like his symbol.
Okay.
But
That's cool.
So it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's cool.
So we're gonna talk about these video games.
All right, I got my 3.
You ready?
Video games.
Okay. First one I'm going to talk about, and I think for anybody who might have watched the show, been keeping up.
Now, this is your favorites.
These
the top
for me. These are
hard to be a favorite.
This is as close as I could get to a top 3.
Okay.
This is as close as I could get, because I mean, there's over the years there's been just too many games that I love. but this is about as close as I can get to a top 3. And my number 1, and I'm starting off with number 1, is World of Warcraft. So, I've played World of Warcraft since 2007, and what are we in now? 2022?
Right?
2030.
Wow.
Exactly. I've played that game for this long.
Now, do they have different versions too?
They do update the game probably about every 2 to 3 years in most cases. And so if you bring up that first picture, then that's going to show you some of the villains from some of the previous expansions. So in one you have the first one with the green glowing eyes. That's Illidan Stormrage. He's basically like what they call a demon hunter. He took demonic blood. He's an elf who took demonic blood and became like this really powerful being. The next one is the Lich King. He's like this king of an undead army. Then you have Deathwing. He's a corrupted dragon of Earth. And then you have Hellscream, Garrosh Hellscream. He's an orc, but he became war chief of the Horde, which is one of the factions in the game. And he basically went on a campaign to try and take out the entire other faction, which was the Alliance. And he was extremely ruthless in doing so. And he had some plans that you as the player have to stop.
So these are the guys, like if I started playing, these are the dudes that in the game I gotta stop these dudes.
In the different expansions over the years, yeah, you would. And the way the game is now, you can actually, so like say if you decided to go in and create a new character, so you start off at level 1 and you get up to level 10, and the game gives you an option. It lets you pick an expansion that you want to play through. So you could say, okay, I want to play the Deathwing expansion, which was called Cataclysm. So you could say, I want to play that expansion. So you zone into that game, to that version of the game, and you get to go through all the quests from when that game was the latest expansion, and you can play through it like we did when it first came out. Or you can say, nah, I want to go and fight the Demon Army, which was an expansion called Legion. So you can go and play the Legion expansion. So you spend that entire time while you're leveling, fighting an army of demons. You know what I'm saying? It's the game is really. There's a reason I've been able to play it since 2007. It's just one of those games where you don't run out of things to do. The game is an open world. You can go anywhere. You can travel. Before you even get your own like mounts and stuff, you have zeppelins where you can get on and fly to different places.
Yes,
You have flight points where you can jump on a griffin and fly across from one side of the continent to another, depending on where you're trying to go. It's really just a really cool open world. And if you like things from like the fantasy genre, as far as like elves, dwarves, magic, and things like that. The second picture that I have there is actually of an Orc Death Knight, which is one of the classes and races that I play personally, which I happen to love Death Knights, but we won't get into Death Knights.
Do with the braid.
Yeah. And see, orcs look like that. They rough, they hard, they gangster. And so an Orc Death Knight is basically an orc who died, was brought back to life as a undead warrior, basically. So you're dead, but you have these certain abilities because you were brought back from the dead. You were raised by the Lich King. So yeah, Death Knights are pretty fucking awesome. And like you have so you have different races in the game. So you have like orcs, elves, dwarves, gnomes, humans, Tauren, which are these big minotaur looking creatures. They're half bull and half human. Mm-hmm. You have trolls. And so you can pick these different races, and then you have different characters. Different classes, I'm sorry. And the classes can be like a mage, a warlock, a death knight, a paladin, a priest, a druid. And if you pick, say, druid, your character is going to have certain abilities because he's a druid. Druids can change into animals, so you have a cat form where you can fight. You have a bear form where you can tank. You have a what they used to call they used to call it the tree form, but it's really just a healer version where you can focus on healing magic. And then you got what they used to call a boomkin, where you can turn into this. It's like an owl beast. It's like a cross between an owl and a bear.
Huh?
and so you turn into one of those, and you
Owl
wield,
and a bear.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm like trying to
and
picture
you
that.
you wield like moon and sun energy. So you lunar and solar energy, so you can call down beams of sunlight
That's cool.
to like blast niggas and stuff like
Damn.
that. Oh, dude, when I'm
Almost
telling you, it's
elemental.
fun. Paladins, and if you bring up the third one,
That's your boy.
that's my boy. I've been playing him in the latest expansion. His name is Thelonious, and he's a light forged Draenei paladin. And when I'm telling you, as you see, my boy got his hammer. I swing big hammer. That's all I'm gonna say. I swing big hammer. So yeah. My boy is cool. I got him up to level 60, which right now is the top level. And I've geared him out for the latest expansion, so I'm pretty much ready to go for anything that comes. If I'm out in the world on him, ain't nothing messing with me, dude. I can pretty much hold my own on just about everything that the game might have to throw at me. Now, of course, in the dungeons and the raids, of course, I need to be in a group because those bosses are hardcore. But you have everything in World of Warcraft. You have dungeons, you have raids, you have PvP where you can fight against other players, and you have like these designated arenas where you can go in and even play 2-on-2 combat. So say like if me and you was playing, we could pair up. You could be a mage and I'm a warrior, so I can fight up close and you can fight at range.
I'm
and
gonna be dwarf.
and we go up against another pair of 2 players and go head to head like that. So you have the hunter class where you use bows and guns and stuff like that, but you have an animal as a pet that you can control and it attacks for you and can hold your enemies at bay and things like that, while you sit back and just pluck niggas off. Oh man, the game is
Now
so much
that
fun.
there is like you said, I gotta go fight these big dudes.
Yeah,
Now, do I gotta do that first and then I can hang out with everybody else, or we can go as a group to fight this?
you can go as a group. That's the beautiful part of it. Really, to enjoy the game, it requires teamwork. You have to you learn how to be able to work with other people. They have a system in there where you can just queue for a dungeon, or if you have friends or you meet people in the game where y'all play together, you can say, okay, hey, we're gonna be doing some dungeons tonight. Let's go, get our group together and we're gonna go do our thing. I've spent hours and hours and hours playing that game.
I mean, the games I play that you play online, I like to play by myself.
Yeah.
If there's somebody around, they're doing other things. But I have to go, once I do to finish the story, and then it's an open world, and I'm just trying to do all the things. Like I do Red Dead, where you just go and do a bunch of different stuff, become a trader, a trapper, whatever the fuck.
And that's the beautiful part about World of Warcraft. If you like that, if you want to just do solo play, you can go out into the world and just adventure and do quests and stuff like that. So there's that option for those people who like to play. Right now, for probably about the last 2 years or so, I've been pretty much focusing on solo play. I'm just tired of group play. So I don't really do too much group stuff anymore, but I just get in there, get in the world, and I'm like, ooh, if I go kill this rare, or if I can find this rare, or if I go run this old raid, I can maybe get a special mount to drop. Oh, I'm finna go kill that boss. Yeah, let's go.
So when I play by myself and get all this shit, when I play with people, all that shit is still with me?
And when y'all in a group, you can share the loot. So if you go into a raid and say like one mount drops, you have to roll for it. There's actually a system in the game where you can click on a dice and it rolls. Whoever gets the highest number gets it.
Oh, that's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
and it's random. So yeah.
That's cool.
All right, B. So what's your number one? What's your first one?
Well, I'm old school, so I'm gonna have to go with Mega Man.
Bobby taking us way back.
I'm
Way back to the arcades when niggas was spending quarters.
I'm taking you back to 1987. That's old. Yeah, Mega
Dude, I
Man.
was in the 7th grade.
Yeah,
Right.
Mega Man. That even though it's a platformer title, but Mega Man is a hard game to play because it's not just one level or 2 levels.
Right.
We're talking about multiple levels, and you can pick the boss that you want to go through. You have those that say that have I'm trying to remember, like Guts Man, and
That sound like what you do? I be getting all the guts.
That sounds like a porn name. Guts, man.
Guts, man. I get up with your guts.
Get up in
but the boards that you have to go through are catered completely to that boss, and you have to go through a lot of shit just to reach that boss. And when you do, after hours of, because I don't know, it's been like 20. I spent so much time just on one board. I'm talking about days and nights just to complete that board. And I still got 8 more to go through.
Where did you play that on? We said arcades, but that's not an arcade game, right?
No, this will be the platform will be Capcom. I would think that'll be NES.
What's that? NES.
That's the old
Nintendo.
That's the first Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Okay.
That's the first Nintendo Entertainment System. That's back when the
cartridge.
when the controllers was rectangles.
Yeah.
The cartridges you had to blow to make it work.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
I remember
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. And see, the thing about Mega Man though is that the boss fights in Mega Man was super hard.
Yes.
Like them boss fights was no joke. Like I remember people crying because you get so frustrated at those balls because you had to do them perfectly. There was just no way you could. It wasn't no. Oh, I'm gonna use a shortcut or a little cheat or something. No. You couldn't stand in the corner and like hide from the.
Come get
No,
you.
the boss is gonna come get you. You had to fight them bosses perfectly.
And then what made it so frustrating is when, let's say, you get to the boss and you lose that fight. It doesn't start you right back where with that boss. You have to go back half the game or that board and fight your way all the way back to that boss. So every time you get to the boss, I died. I ain't got no extra men. No, you have to start that shit all over again.
As a side note,
but that made me a better gamer because it taught me patience. So.
But as a side note, what's interesting is nowadays they've come out with games that's just boss fights. Have you ever heard of this game called Cuphead?
And almost damn like what Dark Souls and stuff like you starting off with a boss.
There's a game called Cuphead where the whole game is boss fights essentially. You have a little bit of fodder in between the boss fights, but basically you just going through boss fights, and they get progressively harder. So my kids played that game, and I actually got to sit back and watch them play it. I was like, okay, this is new game. Yeah, that's I want to say maybe 2 years ago or something like that. It's fairly recent. Matter of fact, there's a show on Netflix now based on the game called Cuphead, an animated cartoon.
Shit.
Yeah, I just saw it the other day, and I was like, oh wait, they turned Cuphead into a TV show. So
Cuphead.
So check out.
You fight. It's a fighting game, is it?
Yeah, well, it's like one of those things where like, so say Cuphead is like this little character, and you can gain abilities from what I understand. So like in some parts he can fly, some parts he's just jumping around, things like that. But depending on what the boss you're fighting calls for, you have to like get certain abilities to be able to beat him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got to do other shit first to get yourself up and going.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting though. But
yeah, but no, Mega Man, that was my shit growing up. So that actually honed me into getting my skills up as far as gaming, getting that right controls, and because I'm not to reach do all this, and I spent 5 days just to reach this fucking boss, just to die at the end, have to redo this shit.
Hell yeah, that's crazy.
And then with other games like that, with Dark Souls,
computer cheat.
yeah,
Computer be cheap.
get mad and throw the controller.
Oh man, you say that. Me and my buddy used to play in the wintertime up in Pennsylvania. It gets cold, so after work for like almost all winter, we would play. Go keep that for a minute. We would play Madden. So what we did one year said, yo, it's just to go through the winter, we'll play a whole season, but we're gonna play every game. So we played 16 games each week.
Damn.
And man, it would be some games. We went through like all 4 controllers because we do something. My boy would just like, dude, we can't play that. Like, man, it's bullshit, man. Why don't you just do this shit every time? I'm like, I can't throw that bomb every time. I got you this time. Man, fuck that. Now we gotta stop and get another controller and shit. I'm like, man, that's crazy. But that was that was good times though. We went through the winter learning that.
That's like my brother. My brother's broken so many damn PlayStation controllers and Xbox controllers.
Oh no,
'Cause
I
he
kick you
can't-
out the house.
he
with
can't.
That shit. Breaking my
He
shit.
can't control his temper because he gets mad playing video games, and then he gets frustrated and throws the motherfucker.
No, I can't have that happening. Go ahead, Newt.
I know.
I know that
If I
thing defensive.
if I have one next to me, I might if it really pisses me off. But then I think, damn, I gotta go back. Another one, so fuck it. But if I do lose it, I can feel the other one. Now I know. Damn,
Anger management.
man, now I know I
Anger
can't throw
management.
this one until I buy another one.
See, World of Warcraft, I can't smash my computer.
Although I've almost broken my keyboard though playing some games sometimes or doing some shit like, God damn it,
Right?
Fucking what?
Hit the goddamn button.
The little piece comes flying up and it won't go back in. That's funny.
Hey man,
What's your second? Because
okay, for those who might understand, actually my number 2 game primed me for my number 1 game because I played this one. This was a game called Fable. And Fable was back in the day on the original Xbox system. What's that? The Xbox? No, it's not the Xbox One. The Xbox One was a different system.
yeah. Fable.
I think it was just the plain old Xbox. But that game came out, and it was one of the first games, at least that I remember, where you could play. You had the choice to play as good or evil.
Yeah.
You could be either or.
Right. So if you went through the game and like at certain points there'd be conversations that you had to have with different characters and things like that, you could choose positive responses and negative responses, things like that. You could choose positive responses and negative responses. So things like that was in the game. But then also you could walk around, and if you were so inclined, when you go to a new village, you could kill the villagers and take all their stuff.
Yep.
But there was consequences for that. So later on, when you did certain quests or had certain missions you had to complete, you'd go back to that village, and yeah, there might be new NPCs that have moved in because you were gone, but now they're afraid of you. And so when you walk into that village, everybody runs inside and closes up their doors and locks the windows and stuff. And so when you need help trying to get certain things done, they don't want to help you. So you had those kind of consequences in the game. So, and the one part that I really thought was cool about the game is whether you played good or bad, it affected the physical appearance of your character.
That's what I did like about that game.
So if you were good, you'd eventually wind up with like a halo basically and like butterflies and light coming off of your head. But if you played if you took the negative choices, you'd start to grow horns and your eyes would turn like a smoky red, like they were on fire, and your skin would get real pale and it looked kind of like cracked with like these red lines. Like they really made you like if you took every negative option, yeah, you really got to be the ugly bad guy. Your ugly showed.
Like that dude, I got black eyes.
Exactly right.
That's one of the ways your character would look.
That was in the beginning because in the beginning of the game you start off as a kid, and I think if I remember right, I think your parents get killed or something like that, and so you trying to find out what's going on with them, and by the end of the game you're a grown man. So there are time skips in the game where you go from childhood to like adolescence to like full grown adult, and you can even exercise your character. Because say you want him to be big, you can do certain things in the game that will make your character build up muscle. Or you could say, okay, no, I want my dude to be a lean, mean fight machine. So you could not do those things and do other things that would build up his like dexterity and strength without making him bulk up. So you really had a way to customize your character and what you wanted to do with him. It was a fun game.
That's cool.
And that came out in 2004. So that came out in 2004. So you were able to have that kind of choice in a game. It just shows you, man, all the stuff that we seeing now. We saw the first versions of that back in the day.
And that shit was bad as hell back then. But now compared to now, but back then, that's all we had. You know, that's all we had. So we were like,
I got a PS5.
I mean,
you know,
you
he
look
got
at
a
the
5 now. So
you
he
look
can
at those
do that.
graphics and stuff like that. And you think to yourself, man, what was we? You know, why were we so in love with this? But back then, that was cutting edge for us.
So imagine those coming in now that are just getting into these games, the way they look. You know, they're used to that kind of looking games. For us, it was new. For me, I started with Pump.
Their games are gonna look like their games are gonna be indistinguishable from reality in a few more years.
That
man.
Matrix one looks like you're watching a damn movie, man. That trailer for that, it looks like you can see the character looks a little weird. Everything else around you is what movie you watching?
Right.
I mean, the drone goes up to a window. You can see the food on the table, the chair over there, like you really look at it. It looks like a movie, man.
And you can just go to the next window over, and it's a whole
Like somebody else's house.
It's not like cookie cutter, yeah.
No,
not-
you can see
not
the
at all.
couch. You can see like this right here. Now. I was like, man, this is like I ain't never seen nothing like that, man.
Wow,
That's really
that's
cool.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your second one,
You
baby?
taking it way back again?
Way back again, I'm gonna have to give you back to 1986,
Hey.
Castlevania.
Castlevania. Man, you're taking us back.
No, that's
You're bringing us forward now. 85, 86. Okay.
well. As I said,
Bobby thinking this is going back to the future.
You know, going back us way back.
Working your way up from the past.
PS5 to the PS5.
All right, so
but this is also one of my second, because I had to do my list, but my second favorite game would be Castlevania, because I like the story of I like vampire stories, to be honest with you.
oh yeah.
And
Always been a vampire fan.
And as I said, this is another just a platformer. But the way they did the game and the storyline is what hooked me. We've gone. It's pretty much the Valmonts trying to. Well, the Valmonts were that family who was fighting against Dracula. But it was like the Belmonts, and they were pretty much just the thought of leaving my head. Give me a second, people.
No, well, they had the they made the TV show on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So okay, because I didn't really play the game, but I remember from the show that the Belmonts was like this family that basically over like generations fought vampires.
Yes.
That's what they did.
Yes.
And so they had all kinds of like special weapons and things like that. Yeah, that
the iconic whip.
In the cartoon they made it a Morning Star. It was on a chain instead of being a whip, but he did the where they swing it around and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was pretty cool the way they had him in the animated one. But yeah, that was the story behind that. I remember you playing it, and I remember like catching some of the story when you because I think you bought it on one of those later systems like in
Sega.
Okay. And so yeah, you used to play it, and I remember watching you play it, and I was catching bits of the story, and I was like, "Damn, this sounds interesting." You almost made me want to play it.
Yeah, and I have the collections on my PS5. I'm still having some of my collections. I actually have up to 8 titles all in a row, so I can actually go from the first one to up to the. So I actually still play these games.
Have you gone in and actually played any of them? I'm good.
Yeah, I actually still play these games to this day.
Okay.
The first, like even with Mega Man, I have the collections. I mean, I have all of that. I still play these games to this date.
Cool. That's cool.
You see, I like that. I like that. I wish
I gotta have them. So
I wish some of these games I still well, of course I still play World of Warcraft, but like Fable, I wouldn't mind playing that again for nostalgia value. And from what I understand, they actually did wind up coming out with some sequels to it. I want to say it got up to like 3. I may be remembering that wrong.
I know they did a part. I know they did a second.
Yeah, I want to say I played the second one, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I liked it. But either way, so I don't know. I only remember loving the first one. But my third game is another oldie, but not quite as old as
You go that
yours.
far? You go way back.
Mine was 2000.
I'm going
Mine
back.
was 2003. Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic,
I haven't
the
played
original
it.
game.
I played it.
Now that was, And in case y'all didn't notice, there's a theme going here. Because in Knights of the Old Republic, you could also choose being either the dark side or stay a Jedi, or you could go Sith. You could do either one. And then again, you had those options depending on how you played the game, and it had certain repercussions. And again, I just thought about this. Your character did also undergo physical changes to reflect their turn to the dark side. So yeah,
Oh, you like these games?
I've just noticed it. Okay, I'm sensing the theme here.
Yeah, it shows what kind of gaming you like.
Look, if there's any therapists out there watching this, tell me what that might mean.
Another call for Brother Ron.
Right?
Call us.
We need your help, brother.
We need
We
therapy.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, man, that was one of those games where the story really was what drew you in. The graphics weren't super great, but the game itself and the story that it told, because you woke up as a dude who was force sensitive, but you had no memories.
Yeah.
And so you were just like starting out as a blank slate. But because you were force sensitive, the Jedi were taking you in and you start training. But of course, as a part of your training as a Jedi, you have to master your emotions, because otherwise that can lead you down the dark side. Well, throughout the game, it gives you options where you either control your emotions or you give in to your emotions. If you give in to your emotions, then you start going dark side, and eventually the story takes you down a certain path. Because even though this one was an open world, it was kind of like those old, pick a ending kind of books. Depending on certain choices you made in certain parts of the game, it was going to take you down a different version of the story. And so this was, like I said, back in 2004, and they was already making games that were non-linear like that. So yeah, it was really just one of those things, and that aspect of the game is what really attracted me, because you had, I want to say, if I remember right, I think it was like 8 different endings, just depending on how you played it. And I played through every version, I went through and figured out how to get every outcome, because I think back then we were still looking up like guides online. Remember when we used to have to look up guides? On the internet, and it was like text, so you had to like read through it, and like nobody was doing videos. Like, I don't even think, well, I don't know about 2004. YouTube may have already existed at that point, but
it was still in the
like nobody really used it for stuff like that back then. So yeah, no,
I did.
Shit, wasn't no videos to watch, but you could find the text guides that'll tell you all the secret places where stuff was hidden, and like, oh wait, if you break that vase, and when you walk into that room, there's an extra life, right there, that kind of stuff.
I did that with Resident Evil, so.
Oh, you could. Well, which version of Resident Evil?
The first Resident Evil, and the second one. That's what I.
The first Resident Evil was ridiculously hard. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, that first Resident Evil game was crazy hard.
The first time I actually, this is back when we was, I was still living together, like 828. Shout out to my boy Manic.
Right?
He was the first, because we had the PlayStation at the station, and he's like, "Oh, I got this game called Resident Evil." We was like, Resident Evil? When he started playing that game,
he got it the day it came out.
Yeah, he got it the day it came out. Now we were all we were watching him play this game, but everybody was quiet. It was watching him play this game. It was like, ooh, shit! Oh, don't go there!
No! Don't open that door. If you walk in there, you better be ready to shoot, nigga. So, like, we sat and watched him play, I want to say for probably about 10 hours straight.
Yep.
Like, we watched, like, instead of, like, having...
He's the only one that knew how to play?
Well, it was his game. He bought, like I said, he bought it the day he came out, but he brought it home, and we all lived together, so we just got to sit and watch him play.
That's cool.
And it was so interesting, whereas normally you might play for, like, 2 or 3 hours or whatever, but nobody wanted him to stop. We was, like, into it. because it was like a movie. It was like a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know, he was walking around and shit was jumping out at him and things was trying to kill him.
All
And
jumping. Oh shit! Oh damn! Oh don't
dogs, zombie dogs running at him, and you know you got to headshot them suckers. Man, that stuff was so crazy. And then you had the crazy inventory system because you couldn't keep all your stuff on you at once. So you had to there was these boxes where you could hide or stash your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could find another box like that, you could access your stuff from any of them. So at least that they gave you that.
You just gotta make it there.
You're right.
You just gotta make it there.
Better make it.
Like, nigga, I got some health potions in my locker. Just let me make it.
Right.
I gotta go from the kitchen to the third floor up here. I'm like, oh Lord.
Man, sometimes you just had to run for it.
Fuck that gun.
Hope nothing
I
happens.
got 3 bullets. Fuck that gun.
If I get away from this, then I get 3 bullets for the next.
And at least for me, that was one of the first games I remember where you really had to keep track of your ammo and stuff like that. You know, because they didn't just you just didn't have unlimited bullets. You had to actually okay, wait.
You gotta find some.
Right. I got 5 rounds of shotgun shells. I got 30 rounds of my handgun, and I got another I got a knife and some and a pair of tweezers.
I got this one bazooka round. I'm saving that for the boss.
You know,
Now they have places where you go, it would give you the ammo.
you in later versions of the game, they had places where you could even go buy certain supplies because you'd have certain businesses that might still exist in this kind of zombie apocalypse and stuff. So yeah, it got interesting.
But it was pretty much just search. It's just search areas. You might find, oh, I just got 5 extra bullets for my handgun. Thank you. Only had 2 left. So now I got 7 bullets.
Right.
But I know I got to go through all these dogs, 18 zombies, and 1 boss.
Right. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, that game was fun though. It was fun to watch. It was actually entertaining to watch people play Resident Evil.
Yeah,
So
I just hated that they fucked the movie up. But anyway,
So your last one?
Are you taking us way back or closer here?
little close. This will be, actually, I'm going backwards on this one again. 85.
Yeah, you went all the way back.
No, but I'm talking Gulfgate. Gulfgate when they actually still had the theater. There was that when it had actual arcades, meaning you have to have $5 worth of quarters.
Yeah, he came about the quarter days.
Yep,
Yeah.
quarter days. We
What
just
you
have
got?
to. And that's
You
what
had
they.
that row of quarters. What nigga I got
Right.
next?
See, what back in my day was the asteroids, and the white boys would have a stack there because that's all they played. Man, man, can I get in on that? And I'm like, dude, can I get in? They wouldn't do it. It's like, hey, that's how it was back then. I'm playing this many until I'm done. You can't fuck with me. You know, and then they went from there.
Saying this one, Gauntlet. Oh man, this is a dungeon scroller, but with the arcade, the way it had the arcade system, you can actually have you can either play you can actually play solo, which I do not suggest, but you can actually have 3 other people along with you, all putting their quarters in to make to do this dungeon, and it's just dungeons on top of dungeons.
Top down view, so you're looking down on your characters, and that's what that was the classic dungeon crawler format kind of.
You have to if you look up something and you see on the other side of the walls all the zombie.
Yeah,
John was playing it on the PlayStation. They had it on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
They
brought it back.
They brought it back.
They brought it back.
They revamped it.
Okay,
They was it with a remaster or something?
Yeah, they remastered it and
They
put it on
remastered it, put it back out. I think on PlayStation a few
The
years
thing
ago.
I liked about it because you can either be the wizard,
Yeah,
the elf. I think it was the elf,
the archer. I think
or
it
the
was.
archer, or
Yeah.
something like that, and also the
There was the
warrior.
Yeah, the
Everybody,
warrior was the most fun.
yeah.
Because the warrior built up rage. So as you was fighting, he would had this bar that was a rage bar, and then when he got the rage bar full, you could do his special attack. Oh man, he just
He do that spinning attack
and just start plowing through niggas, man. I used to love playing that game, man. And when you had 4 people playing together and they were good at it, like people who knew how to play.
Mm.
Y'all could, because the characters they had were meant to work as a team. So if you had all four and you had somebody who knew what they were doing, you could really get far in that game easy.
It's actually kind of like you said World of Warcraft. That was the very first World of Warcraft.
But that's where World of Warcraft got its idea for dungeons, because dungeons in the game are like that. It's like these sectioned off areas where you just have like a certain path that you're gonna take to get to these bosses and defeat them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's very similar. It's based on that. You can definitely see the comparison.
I'm sorry, I'm old, but this
but
right
now, did you only play Gauntlet on the arcade? You didn't
play
on none of the platforms?
when they re-released it, it came out on PlayStation.
Yeah,
and so that's when you could actually play it at home. But back in the day,
it was only on arcade.
Yeah, for me, I used to play it at Super Track.
Yeah,
I used to play Gauntlet at Super Track. Back then, that was the go-kart spot back when we were kids, and of course,
for 45
with the go-karts, you had the arcade, so you could either be outside on the go-karts and inside playing the video games. Right. And of course, Gauntlet was one of those games where, dude, you better know what you're doing, because niggas gonna be mad at you if you get on there and you just No.
Yeah, like I only have $20, so either I go on the go-karts or I can spend the majority of my time playing the fuck out some games.
It used to be for me the bowling alley or the big old room with the game. Arcades. My favorite was Saxon, when you fly this little plane.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Love that game.
Dude.
That was one of the only ones I used to play, man. The Saxon was cool. You had to go through the thing, and at the end you fought the robot.
Yeah,
I love that game, man.
My brother, he has a different father, and his father used to pick us up sometimes and take us out on like weekends and stuff. And one of the things he would very often do is he just give us like quarters and take us to like the arcade and let us just play for hours.
Nice.
Dude, it was so much fun, dude. We was just like give you like a whole roll of quarters, and you like,
it's $10.
9, 10 years old, something like that.
$10.
Right. You don't give a damn. That's a lot of quarters.
You're playing that much.
Right. Exactly. So you hit the arcade hard, man.
You gotta pick a game right.
He was such a cool dude, and I know he still has family in Houston area. So shout out to Mr. Guillory, Mr. Guillory's family. His name was Jim Guillory, and he was a nice guy. Really, really awesome guy. That nice guy doesn't do him justice. He's a really awesome guy. But yeah, man, he used to take us to the arcade and just let us have at it, man. Nice. And he ran a sweet shop where he would sell like candy and chips, pickles and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And what he would do some weekends is he'd make us work in the sweet shop with money. And so we'd sit in a little shop all day, and people come up and want to buy stuff. We'd sell them, count them back, they change, and he'd pay us so much for working for him all day, and then we had a little money to go do stuff.
To go have fun. To have fun, you got to do this.
Taught us how to hustle, because he had a regular 9 to 5. He just did that like stuff on the weekends and stuff, man.
Right. Now you make me miss my old job at the gallery working for Tilt, the game room. Oh man, I used to love that freaking job. The only thing I had to do all day was pass out quarters and watch people play video games and get paid for that. So I'm like, yes.
They used to have that virtual reality thing back then, but it was like a whole like thing. You had to put on like this helmet, and there was gloves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was gloves, and you had to stand in this special like
area.
Like it was like a ring thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like basically you just kind of could only walk around in this one little area. So it like had you fenced in. And so like that was like virtual reality. And when you put it on, it was like the square boxy virtual reality. So it didn't look real at all. But it was cool that you could like look around and look up and look down and
thank you, Oculus.
Right?
Thank you, Oculus.
They fixed it.
They did it right.
They fixed
it. And made it affordable.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oculus.
Hey. We're gonna talk about the different gear systems and different game systems rather on the next episode.
The format wars.
We will be having some discussions on our favorite favorite systems over the years, because I
Platforms and
think between us we've just about played all of them, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm saying you already know me. Atari all the way up
Atari
to
2600, Commodore 64,
Sega.
And television.
Oh Jesus! I remember in television, dude. I remember one of my homeboys had in television.
Say that for that show.
We used to go over to his. Okay.
Say that for that show, but
I think Butch had what was it? I forget the name of the console. Starts with a V. Just a small box. I'm about to say Vertex, not. I can't think of it, but we'll discuss that on the next.
I remember another one. They used to have a big old disc that you had to put in. I think that was a different type of Genesis or Sega. It was a big disc you had to use as the game. His neighbor, I used to have a neighbor. He's about my age. This dude had all of them still on a shelf with all the games next to it. I said, "Damn!" And he said, "Man, everyone I've played, I've always kept it." He had that shelf here with all that, and had the games. The latest version plugged into his TV. I'm like, man, that's cool as fuck, man. Nice collection he had.
That shit is worth some money, man.
Yeah.
If it's in working condition, oh man,
it was. He took care of his shit.
He's sitting on a gold mine,
unless he. Kevin, his name was Kevin. Unless he's already sold it, because this is years ago. But I remember he was showing me his salt water tank that he was getting ready to go, and I went in and looked, and I happened to look because I knew he played PlayStation because he was telling me certain. And I looked up, and I'm like, "Yo, what's that?" I said, "Man, that's like all of them." He said, "Oh yeah, everyone I've ever started playing, I kept it after the new one come out. I keep it, put it in his box, and then one day I said, I'm gonna put them out so I can display them." And that's cool. I mean, he had all of them. Each shelf had the box and all the games that he played. The box and all the games. I mean, from way back. I'm like, wow, this is cool as fuck. Man.
That's man.
Yeah, I wish I would
PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and now 4 on there because I'm sure he has the 5.
I wish I had that kind of foresight to keep all my old game systems, man.
Right.
You know how much fun I could have if I still had all of those games and cartridges and discs and everything. Nowadays, game systems don't even have an opening to put a damn disc in it.
Download.
Everything is online, man. Everything is just a download. Oh my God.
The cloud.
Do you realize how far we've come?
Right.
We started off with fucking cartridges and quarter-based video games.
Right.
Not working.
Right. So
right.
John, what was y'all's favorite for today?
Huh?
What was y'all's favorite for today? Your 3, his 3?
Yeah.
What were they?
Recap. Mine was World of Warcraft, Fable, and Knights of the Old Republic, the original one.
Of course, mine was Mega Man, Castlevania, and Gauntlet.
Yeah.
These are the ones that started me off in my gaming
ventures.
Because it's back to NWA and shit.
Man, for real, dude. Bobby
got me go further back
to some gangster rap. I'm gonna listen to some Ice Cube on the way home.
Go further back than that. Like take you back to some TurboGrafx 16 days.
Oh, I remember you had the TurboGrafx. I remember you used to, because you always
it could be used as a CD player. You can hit the headphones in, you can listen to it, and it had the little mini disc before GameCube. They used to do the mini disc, and they also had the actual console itself, where you can take the disc player out, or you can hook it back in.
Wow.
So yeah, those. I think that's one of my. At the time, it was expensive as fuck, but I had a job, so I was like, you know what? Let me get this shit. So I bought it, and I never regretted having that. I wish I still have it today, because if I try to go online and find it, probably not gonna find it.
We'll wait till the next show to cry about that. That's what y'all talking about. So,
all right, man. We're going to wrap this up. And again, as always, thank you for joining us on another smoke session. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. And if you got something to say or you have an opinion about anything we said, put it down in the comments below. Like I said earlier, we did the show earlier tonight with Danessa and the Soul Food Sunday Sit Down.
Can't wait.
You can look for it on Facebook, or we're going to put some links up for that as well. So we'll let you know more about, but that's this Sunday.
27th, this Sunday.
The 27th of March. So hopefully you get a chance to get a ticket by the time you see this.
It's $25 Eventbrite.
Yeah, it's $25 on Eventbrite, or she does have a Facebook page.
Check her out.
Which was called... Soul Food Sunday Sit Down. So you
Right.
can look for that on Facebook. So this is Brother Jam.
Your boy Bobby Blackhand.
Brother Los.
All right, we are the Daily Smoke. Thank you for joining us for the smoke session. Peace.
Peace. We time.